Good morning, everybody. This is Buddhism 430, Buddhist Meditation Traditions class. Today is November 22nd, 2021. And we are, I think we have to go on 2 more weeks, including today, and then we will have the final exam. Hope everyone is doing okay. So today's discussion, the lecture is on the Zen meditation. You must have heard this word before, Zen, Z-E-N, Z for zebra, Z-E-N, Zen meditation. It's very popular, very famous in modern day world. Of course, in the 18th century, it became so popular. 18th, 19th centuries, it became so popular in the West, and now you find it all over in the Western world. But this was started basically when you talk about Zen Buddhism, we focus on Japan. Remember last week when we were talking about the Chan meditation tradition, it was evolved in China. We told you, we were discussing that thing. Started in India as dhyana meditation, and then it took the shape of Chan meditation in China. And in Japan, the same meditation technique, the tradition, evolved as Zen Buddhism. And that became so popular that it was able to reach many, many, many different people. So Zen meditation is a very, very famous, very vibrant, dynamic meditation traditions in Buddhism. So speaking about Japanese influence on Buddhist meditation. When you talk about Zen, it has many, many different aspects of Buddhist teachings you find in Zen practice. Usually, some people compare this Zen meditation with the Theravada practice of Buddhist meditation, like the sitting meditation, because in Zen meditation, the very popular, famous practice is sitting meditation. It's called Zazen, Z-A-Z-E-N, Z-A-Z-E-N. Zazen meditation. Zazen means just sitting, doing nothing. If you happen to visit a Japanese temple, Zen center, all what they do is just sit looking at the wall. Just sit. So sitting posture is very popular in Zen meditation, and it resembles the sitting meditation in Theravada tradition. So in that sense, we see some similarity between Theravada practice and the Zen practice. So Zen became popular because it was paying attention to the inner nature. Why do you sit like that? You sit in order to have inner peace. You know, at the very beginning, when I was giving the introduction about meditation, bhavana, I told you that why do we practice meditation? In order to have peace, in order to have clarity in our thinking. So that clear comprehension, clarity, peace, serenity, all those things are the goals of practicing meditation. So in Zen practice also, the goal is to achieve that status. And in Japan, it is called Satori. Satori means the final liberation. By practicing Zen, your aim is to attain Satori. Satori is just like Nibbana, Nirvana, the liberation, getting rid of all defilements and be free from suffering. That state of mind is called Satori. So the goal of practicing Zen Buddhism is to attain that Satori status. And so in Japanese culture, this was usually in Japanese tradition, they say that Buddha is the first Zen master, Zen patriarch, they call patriarch. Huh? Buddha is the first Zen master. Buddha, they have a very beautiful story. Buddha showed a lotus flower to a monk. A monk means very famous monk, Venerable Mahakashyapa. Buddha showed Kashyapa the lotus flower. And then Mahakashyapa, he smiled. He did not say anything. Buddha did not ask any questions. He just showed the flower, the lotus flower, and Mahakashyapa smiled. And that is how the the inner meaning of that thing is grasped by that Mahakashyapa, and that is how Zen was transmitted from the original Buddha to the disciple. Disciple is Mahakashyapa. So usually in the Zen tradition, they say that Mahakashyapa is the first receiver of this Zen practice from the Buddha. So he is considered to be the second patriarch of Zen. And afterward, there are many other patriarchs. So anyhow, the idea is that inner wisdom, you can reach your inner core, inner essence, not by argument or not by talking, but by silently understanding it. So Mahakashyapa was able to understand the Buddha's gesture, showing the flower, something like that. So wisdom arises when you contemplate on yourself. So according to Mahayana Buddhism, when you focus on sunyata, emptiness, what happens is you attain you become awakened. That is the idea. You have to be awakened. You don't have to be awakened. You have to contemplate. You have to sit and meditate. That is Zen. So looking at one's inner self is Zen. And there are many schools of Zen Buddhism, not just one. Many different schools, sub-schools. The Zen is the big one, and then there are little branches of its, during the time of its development, they evolved into many different sects. So many different sects. And one of the other very important things in Zen meditation is that when you are puzzled with certain thing, when you get a puzzle, you are trying to solve that puzzle. And then while you are engaged in solving the puzzle, you get enlightened, you get awakening. That is why it's called koan. Koan. If you happen to go to a Zen master gives you a koan. Koan is like a double meaning sentence or some naughty thing that you have to think about it. And then when you engage in thinking on that thing, when you are trying to solve that thing, suddenly there'll be awakening. So that sudden enlightenment is Zen. For example, when you say like this, what is the sound of one hand clapping? That is a koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? There is no answer. But when you contemplate on that thing, there will be certain understanding. Wisdom arises. Awakening happens. That is the easy way to attain enlightenment. You do not have to do all kinds of things. Just do this thing. That's good enough. That type of idea. So the Zen is so popular in that sense that they have many koans like that. Even today, a lot of monks practice this with the koan practice. It is called koan practice, Zen koan. So always a Zen student is associated with a master, a teacher. The master has to guide the disciple, the student. So that interaction is very important. You just cannot do yourself. You need the master. Master helps you to solve the problems, and then only you can attain awakening. So in this way, in Japanese culture, in Japanese history, Zen was introduced into Japan in the 7th century, 655, something like that, 655. And afterwards, it developed into a very big tradition there. And from there, it came to Europe in the 19th century, beginning of the 19th century. It became so popular. And one of the famous names related with the introduction of Zen Buddhism to the West is D.T. Suzuki. D.T. Suzuki was the foremost. He was a lay disciple of Zen, and he wrote many books. And those books became so popular among the Western people. And he was able to reach many, many, many Westerners. So Westerners became associated with Zen practice, and then it became so popular in the West. There are many Zen centers even in California and many other parts of the world, in the Western part of the world. You see Zen practicing non-Asians, non-Japanese. They are not Japanese people, but Westerners. They practice Zen Buddhism or Zen meditation. So that is, I'm just introducing you this thing, but what you got to do now is to go online and check what is Zen, how it evolved in the Japanese culture. So you can do a little research online and get more information. So I think for just to introduce you this thing, I took this effort. So hopefully you will get your homework assignments today, and then do a little research and answer the questions. That is it for today. Thank you so much.